Would you like to know how to go from solutions architect to an enterprise architect role? If so, this video is for you. Hi, my name is Mike Gibbs. I'm an enterprise architect with about 25 years experience, and I've held almost every architect role. And I too remember what it was like to go from solutions architect to enterprise architect. And I'm going to be talking about that in this video. In fact, in this video, we're going to discuss why so many solutions architects ultimately move into enterprise architect roles. We will discuss the real difference between an enterprise architect role and a solutions architect role. We will discuss the skills difference, which is going to be critically important, of the enterprise architect versus the solutions architect. And we'll even discuss what belongs in an enterprise architect portfolio, because you have to have a great portfolio, typically speaking, when you're transitioning careers. So I'll tell you what belongs in an enterprise architect portfolio, and more importantly, what does not belong in an enterprise architect portfolio. So to begin, why do many solutions architects ultimately move into enterprise architect role? Well, it's a natural career progression, and I'll show you what I mean. In most cases, we typically have at the top of the organization our technology strategists, such as the chief information officer, our chief architect, which is an enterprise architect, typically a VP of IT, typically a CTO, which is another enterprise architect position, and we typically have a CISO around this level. Then we typically have our enterprise architects that focus on people, processes, and technology. Then we typically have the people that host the infrastructure, like the multi-cloud architect, and then specialty architects working for us, like network architects, security architects, application architects. And then we typically have solutions architects coming in to provide solutions to the people of the various architecture roles. For example, a solutions architect from Cisco and Juniper Networks might come to consult to the network architect about their products and services. So as you can see, the solutions architect roles tend to be the more beginner roles. I love these roles. I've had a lot of fun in my principal solutions architect roles, but as we move towards the top of the organization, things change. So that's what we're going to be talking about, and it is a wonderful career transition. So big shift in role, and let's talk about what we need to think about along the way. At that solutions architect level, the solutions architect are thinking about the solution and the depth of solution and 100% really about that solution. That's a lot of their focus. At the enterprise architect level, we're focused on the entire enterprise, the capabilities of that business, the operating model of that business, and the portfolio of that business actually has. Where the solutions architect focuses on project delivery, we enterprise architects focus on multi-year roadmaps and realizing benefits from various architectures and things we've done in the business. Where the solutions architect focuses on tech choices, we focus on business outcomes as enterprise architects, architectural trade-offs, as well as architectural decision guidance. For the solutions architect that tends to focus on one domain, like networking, for example, or AWS, we enterprise architects focus on everything. From the people, the processes, the technology, and in the technology it could be identity, it could be data, it could be application integration, it could be cloud, security, networking, all of it. So at the enterprise architect level, we're going to be very high level on each of these technology specialties because our role is more business. So when we think about business, what are we really talking about moving into the enterprise architect role? A lot more business skills. So let me kind of talk to you about some of the things that you need to think about. Business and strategy is going to be an area where you're going to massively have to increase your capabilities. In fact, I actually did an MBA to move from solutions architect roles to enterprise architect roles and got an executive coach. And that's why I created an enterprise architecture program that teaches all these things. But business and strategy is typically the big component. So we have to translate strategy into a capability model or a value stream or a roadmap of new business services or technology. We have to quantify the value of everything that we're getting, prove that the investment in one thing is worth it better than other investments the business could spend. So big part of our job is business and strategy because we're not strategic advisors. So bump up your business acumen skills. Now, You have to be able to understand what kind of operating models will work best with what kind of business. Do they need integrations of their systems loosely or tightly? Do they need standardization of key processes or what have you? That's what we're talking about with regards to operating models. So you have to be able to help that organization find the optimal operating model. Be able to look through their portfolio and say, this makes sense of an offering and this doesn't. This makes sense of an application and this doesn't, to standardize our systems. We typically need to think about demand now. What's going to be the demand for our services? And we're doing a lot more forecasting of demand as opposed to necessarily as we get closer to engineering and solutions architecture, more capacity planning. So we're really focused more on trade-offs at this level. We know that every new way an employee can do the thing has a strength and a weakness. Every new application has a strength and a weakness. And we're going to apply all these strengths and weaknesses strategically to see what's best for our ultimate clients. Now, at our level as enterprise architects, we're dealing with a lot of governance and practice leadership. We may be setting up architectural review boards, keeping a track of decision logs and standards, maybe even some guardrails that we have. Now, at the enterprise architect level, much less at the solutions architect level, now we're building more ROI models, total cost of ownership. We're looking at budget shaping for the future and maybe how we might charge back various units to determine what they're using. We're looking at more build versus buy ideas, and do we source, and if so, are we creating an RFP? Much more of these things at the enterprise architect level. Now, we do a lot of risk management, security, and compliance in enterprise architecture, not like the security architect per se. We're more focused on the risk register and any kind of zero trust guardrails and any kind of data residency or privacy concerns, more focused on the business side of it. We still look at data and integration and application portfolios. It's one of the main components of enterprise architecture. So whether it's inventorying applications or determining which ones make sense, or looking at various integration patterns or data classifications, we're going to spend a lot of time there. And the real key is you need to be seen as a heavyweight executive advisor. So you're going to need a lot of executive presence. You're going to have to be board ready at all time, be able to explain options and trade-offs, know how to map stakeholders and influence others, that kind of thing, manage conflict. Those types of things are going to be critical to the role. So as you develop these skills, you typically want a portfolio that shows hands-on enterprise architecture for whatever hands-on is for an enterprise architect. So that means things you might need some strategy blueprints that you might want to actually put there. You'll typically want to have some kind of roadmaps that are typically good. Typically other things that you could look for are governance packs that you may actually have sitting inside one of your environments. So art reference architectures that you may have come up with, some thought leadership documents, things that show you are designing systems for an enterprise and also can understand how you would measure them after the fact. Now, I have to tell you, I've interviewed about 6,000 architects and other professionals in the last 25 years, and I want to avoid there's some common pitfalls people make all the time, and I don't want you to make them because I want you to get hired in your next enterprise architect interview. So if it comes down to an interview, a lot of interviews fail for enterprise architects because the person starts talking about tools. They start babbling about some technology or tool instead of showing the business outcome or the trade-offs. So it's fine to talk about a tool if you can talk about how it impacts the business, but if you just talk about tools or tech with no tie to the business, that kind of ends the interview right there. Now, if you have any architecture that you've designed and there's no total cost of ownership or ROI or risk narrative, that's not going to make it. And I've seen a lot of architectures on various enterprise architecture interviews with nothing related to the business. So that kind of ends the interview there. If you're given a presentation to do for an enterprise architect interview, make sure you don't skip governance or standards or guardrails and exceptions. Make sure that's a key component to your enterprise architecture. Typically speaking, make sure that in anything you've got something related for a model on the way architects will work and how they will collaborate and how they will and the stakeholders that were related to it, or the business processes that were related to the architecture. Something in the architecture that you deliver that really talks about how you actually align that architecture with the business, typically speaking, a presentation, and you should be good to go. And that's really why I wanted to get there, because so many people talk about tools, or they talk about a solution with no financials, or there's no governance, or they try to make it hard to understand, or they're not trying to make it hard to understand, but it's hard to understand. You need to be seen as that executive strategist, as that executive leader, because that's exactly what you are as an enterprise architect. So in this video, we talked about how to go from a solutions architect role to an enterprise architect role. We discussed the difference in focus between the solutions architect role and the enterprise architect role. We discussed the skills difference between solution architects and enterprise architects. We discussed what belonged in an enterprise architect portfolio and even common pitfalls to avoid on an enterprise architect interview. Now, if you'd like to become an enterprise architect or a security architect or an AI architect or a cloud architect, we hold free weekly architecture webinars where we'll go over all the skills that you need to be an enterprise architect, for example, or another type of an architect, and everything you need to do to get your first architect job, whether it's the first enterprise architect job or security architect job. And these free webinars are on Zoom, so you can ask me any question you want about any kind of architecture career or what you desire to do in the future, or anything. And I'll answer any question I can live and free on Zoom to do anything I can to help you in your architecture career. So to register for the free architecture webinar, look to the description of this video and sign up there. If you enjoyed this video on moving from a solutions architect to an enterprise architect, please give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell to be notified of new videos to assist you in your IT architecture career. This is Mike Gibbs signing off for now, and I hope to see you in another video. Take care.